Get the unmissable news stories of the day.
This is the Beijing Hour.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Monday, February the 16th, 2026. You're listening to a special holiday edition of the Beijing Hour, coming to you live from the Chinese capital. On today's program, it's Chinese New Year's Eve, ushering in the Year of the Horse, and hundreds of millions of Chinese people are traveling over the 9-day holiday period. Iran and the U.S. are preparing for another round of nuclear talks, despite stark differences in what each side is aiming for. And Japan's economy in the fourth quarter grew at a much slower pace than expected, with business spending and exports faltering. Today we begin a 3-part special series tracing the legacy of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics, on the ice, on the slopes, and beyond. In our first episode, we head to Chongli to see how the Games helped transform this former Olympic host into a thriving hub for the ice and snow economy. Now the day's top stories. Monday is Chinese New Year's Eve, and people are ringing in the Year of the Horse. Hundreds of millions are traveling back home or have already arrived for the family reunion dinner. The 9-day Spring Festival holiday began on Sunday. It's the longest break in recent years, offering a chance to arrange longer trips. Since the travel rush began earlier this month, highways, railways, and civil aviation have posted record numbers of passenger trips. The National Immigration Administration estimates that cross-border passenger traffic will rise over 14% this holiday period, averaging more than 2 million daily. Huang Yue at Beijing International Airport shows us what's different about traveling this time of year.
This is one of the busiest moments of China's 40-day Spring Festival travel rush, or Chunyun. The airport has been operating in near full capacity. During peak days, about 200,000 passenger trips are seen through the terminals. Over the entire travel season, about 8 million passenger trips are expected here in the airport. What impressed me the most this year is how the travel patterns are blending. We have students finishing their semester, we have migrant workers heading back to their hometowns, and we have young parents bringing their children to see grandparents. But at the same time, many families are turning this into a winter vacation. Popular tourist destinations, including major cities like Shanghai and Guangzhou, as well as winter destinations from tropical beaches in the south like Hainan to ice and snow cities like Harbin. And some Southeast Asian countries are also popular for outbound travel. Many people are also carrying a lot of festive goods. In addition to the traditional local flavor like pastries from the time-honored Beijing brand, people are also carrying boxes of nuts and fruits of the season like strawberries, cherries, and oranges. So to keep all these running smoothly, the airport has also added some thoughtful touches. For example, for people who are heading to warmer places, they can store their heavy winter coats in the airport instead of carrying them along. And there's an 8-minute assistant promise for those who are running late. And even pets have their designated service packages here. And one detail that really stands out, the wristband for the elderly and those in need. So staff member here can identify them quickly and provide help in a swift manner. There's also a festive atmosphere inside the airport. People can try traditional crafts like paper cutting or calligraphy before boarding. Here at the airport, it feels less like a transit hub, but more like a gateway to celebration. So here at the Beijing Capital International Airport, you can really feel that every boarding call is bringing someone one step closer to home.
That was Huang Yue reporting. Cities and regions across China are hosting a wide range of celebrations over the Spring Festival holiday. In Beijing, animated horse-themed visuals are blending with red lanterns along streets and landmarks. In Hubei province, thousands of lanterns rising to the night sky, their glow reflecting off ancient city walls and the Han River. The traditional Fire Dragon Parade is taking place on historic streets in Dazhou, Sichuan province. In Shandong province, Jining has staged a robot-themed Spring Festival show combining modern technology and traditional folk arts. Across China, crowds are flocking to craft workshops, local markets, and folk activities. Traveling to China is becoming easier and cheaper for people from the UK and Canada. China's extended its visa waiver to ordinary passport holders from those countries beginning Tuesday. Eligible travelers can enter China and stay for up to 30 days without a visa. Jeff Moody reports from London.
UK and Canadian citizens will be allowed up to 30 days visa-free in China. Now, they can come there for business meetings, they can come for tourism, they can meet family and friends, exchange visits, or they can just pass through as long as it's 30 days or less and they're not seeking employment during that time. But the deal expires on the 31st of December 2026. Now, this puts the UK and Canada in line with around 50 other countries that also have this deal with China. And it's the result of Sir Keir Starmer's visit to China last month. Now, you may remember some people said, well, what did he actually achieve from this visit? But here is something very concrete that he has achieved. Previously, UK and Canadian citizens would need to pay just under $200 to get their hands on a visa. Now they can go freely and more cheaply to China. And already it's having a great effect on airlines. British Airways and China Southern Airlines are already announcing that they're expanding their services. And the UK PM says that this deal will make things much, much easier for UK businesses to trade in China.
That was Jeff Moody reporting. More international visitors are coming to China during the holiday period under China's visa-free policy. They can also enjoy a seamless shopping experience thanks to instant tax refunds. Guo Tianqi reports from a major mall in Beijing.
When traveling in China, picking up a few tech gadgets as souvenirs is always a popular choice.
If I buy this, can I have this refund, tax refund? I'm from Malaysia. In Beijing, like 7 days. Yeah. So this is like the accessories for this camera. This one I bought in Malaysia. It's a little bit cheaper here than Malaysia. I use it on my trips. I went to Harbin before I came to Beijing. So actually I'm buying this just for this trip.
To make tax refund more convenient for foreign shoppers, many shopping centers now offer instant tax refund services. There's no need to wait until the airport. Only takes a few minutes to walk to the nearby service station and get the refund on the spot. This service launched in April last year. With a credit card pre-authorization guarantee, visitors can get their tax refund immediately on site.
Yeah, it's very convenient.
In 2025, the number of foreigners entering and exiting China through ports nationwide reached 82 million, up 26% year-on-year. Sales of tax refund-eligible goods surged even faster, rising 95% compared with the previous year.
Since
the launch of the instant tax refund service, the spending by foreign customers at our store has increased by 5% to 10% every month.
The instant tax refund policy helps unlock the consumption potential of inbound tourists, encourages second and even multiple purchases, and further energizes consumption by overseas visitors.
China's Ministry of Commerce says inbound consumption plays a vital role in boosting overall consumption and will help more stores become tax refund eligible while improving tax refund.
That was Guo Tianqi reporting. World leaders have extended New Year wishes as China marks the Year of the Horse. Russian President Vladimir Putin noted that China and Russia will launch a Year of Education in 2026 and wished Chinese people happiness. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said his country supports Chinese President Xi Jinping's 4 global initiatives and will continue to deepen strategic cooperation and head into a future with shared prosperity. Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama said the African country is ready to join China in pursuing development within the global south. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres described the horse as a symbol of energy, success, and the courage to forge ahead. And he said these qualities are urgently needed at a time when international tensions are high. The presidents of Brazil, South Africa, Sri Lanka, the Maldives, and other countries also expressed wishes for peace and development for China. A merger of cultures is taking place in Rio de Janeiro as the Chinese New Year meets Brazil's Carnival. State Grid Brazil has brought together Chinese and Brazilian employees for a unique celebration. And Lucretia Franco has details.
Both Chinese and Brazilian staff are celebrating together their cultures and traditions, the Year of the Horse and Carnival. The event kicked off with a performance from a well-practiced Brazilian dance company, marking the beginning of the Chinese New Year and bringing Chinese traditions into the workplace. Then the volume was cranked up by Brazilian samba and the spirit of carnival, its color, costumes, and unfettered energy. Each state grid employee stood patiently in line to receive a personalized, expertly drawn calligraphy of their names and well wishes in Mandarin to keep as a souvenir. Brazilian company Vice President Ramon Haddad says the company now operates transmission contracts nationwide and that having a moment for some fun is central to its workplace culture.
We have about 1,000 employees across Brazil, and we always want to bring Brazilians and Chinese together, celebrating both countries' holidays. As a binational company, we need to focus on integration.
Since arriving in Brazil in 2010, State Grid has expanded its transmission network, which now carries about 10% of the country's high-voltage electricity and helps deliver renewable energy, among other sources, to major consumer centers. And this year, as the Chinese New Year and Brazil's Carnival overlap, the company says both share the same desire for happiness, renewal, and hope for the future.
That was a report from Rio on Chinese and Brazilian people celebrating each other's cultures. Another event running concurrent to the Chinese New Year is the Milano Cortina Winter Olympic Games. Milan's home to one of Europe's largest overseas Chinese communities. Hermione Kitson checks out the atmosphere in the city.
I'm Hermione Kitson in Milan, where Chinese New Year coincides with the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics. Behind me is the Arch of Peace, a symbolic site of these games housing one of the Olympic cauldrons. But it is also the beating heart of Chinese New Year celebrations, with hundreds of performers, vibrant parades, and thousands of spectators.
This year, as Chinese New Year is during the Winter Olympics, we will have even more spectators at Piazza Sempione, and in previous years, we already had up to 40,000 spectators.
Milan is home to one of the oldest and largest Chinese communities in Europe, and Chinese New Year has become a major fixture on the city's calendar. Celebrations are also being held in Milan's Chinatown, an important cultural and business hub.
Chinese New Year has become a celebration of Milan. It is not only for the Chinese community. The main parade has been held for 15 years, and every year more and more people take part.
Both locals and visitors are enjoying the celebrations.
We feel very excited to preparing traditional dance, Chinese dance for the Chinese New Year.
Yeah, it's amazing. There are a lot of people from everywhere here.
So here in Milan, Chinese New Year is being celebrated alongside the Olympic spirit, bringing together sport and culture to a global audience.
That was Hermione Kitson in Milan. And please stay tuned for sports action from the Winter Games later in the hour. Coming up, Iran and the U.S. are preparing for another round of nuclear talks.
Want to learn about world affairs in a more laid-back and accessible manner? Join insiders, experts, and analysts in the casual setting of the Chat Lounge to hear their personal experiences and opinions on major events and hot issues. Subscribe to Chat Lounge for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
14 minutes past the hour. Iran and the United States are heading into talks in Geneva despite stark differences on the parameters of a nuclear deal. The Iranian Foreign Ministry said Oman will mediate the talks on Tuesday after hosting the last round of negotiations earlier in the month. Tehran has signaled its readiness to discuss the nuclear program while reiterating its red lines regarding uranium enrichment and missile development. Saper Saremi has more from Tehran.
In an interview with the BBC Deputy Foreign Minister, Majid Tahtaravanchi said Iran is ready for compromise on the nuclear issue, including discussions on the dilution of enriched uranium, but stressed that sanctions relief must also take place. He made clear that zero enrichment is not on the table, despite recent comments from U.S. President Donald Trump opposing any enrichment. And when it comes to Iran's ballistic missile program, the message here in Tehran is unequivocal. Experts I've spoken to say it's 100% non-negotiable. And Tahter Avanchi said Iran could not deprive itself of defense capabilities. So ahead of Geneva talks, Iran says it's ready for diplomacy, but its red lines remain firmly in place.
That was Saper Sarami on Iran's position heading into new talks with the United States. Iranian residents have also rejected U.S. demands, as some remain doubtful of an agreement.
After 22 years with no results, these talks are no different. They just argue about locations. When Foreign Minister Araghchi says they're discussing the framework, it's just a way to drag things out.
For over 40 years, Iran has never bowed to threats. And we are not about to start now. Iran will not negotiate under pressure.
Another U.S. aircraft carrier is heading toward the Middle East to join the one that's already operating there. Washington is sending mixed signals on talks with Iran. Secretary of State Marco Rubio emphasized President Donald Trump's preference for diplomacy, but Trump has refused to rule out military action if talks fail. The Munich Security Conference has concluded with lingering doubts over the future of the U.S.-Europe partnership. Debates over multilateralism and global governance ran through many sessions. Natalie Carney has more from Munich.
Thank you all. The final takeaway from the Munich Security Conference chairman, Wolfgang Ischinger, what we need now is a plan. A lot of words have been said. Now it's time for action. Action towards making Europe more independent.
Europe needs to step up and has to take on its responsibility. Europe, and in particular the UK, should come closer on security, on economy, on defending our democracies.
I'm talking about a vision of European security and greater European autonomy that does not herald US withdrawal, but answers the call for more burden sharing in full and remakes the ties that have served us so well.
Action towards developing long-standing security guarantees for Ukraine.
The Americans often return to the topic of concessions. And too often those concessions are discussed in the context only of Ukraine, not Russia.
Action towards reforming global governance and opposing unilateralism. Beyond the main stage, many bilateral meetings took place in an effort to find diplomatic solutions that lead to action. Outside the conference venue, thousands took action against the handling of many geopolitical concerns.
As leaders and policymakers leave Munich, they are tasked with ensuring action follows. In the words of the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, it is crucial for us all to address the shared challenges and ensure stability in an increasing fragmented world.
The Chinese foreign minister attended the conference, calling for reform to improve global governance. Wang Yi called for revitalizing the United Nations system and urged countries to strengthen coordination and seek win-win cooperation through dialogue. He also stressed practicing true multilateralism and promoting peace through talks. The diplomat said China will remain committed to peace, stability, and building a community with a shared future for humanity. African heads of state have reaffirmed their commitment to long-term development, peace, water access, and regional integration. Countries on the continent will also get a significant boost in trade with China beginning May 1st, when Beijing's zero-tariff policy on imports from 53 African nations takes effect. Senior officials and delegates at the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa share their thoughts on the partnership.
I think we are building strong connection that is rooted on our history and that's geared towards sharing of knowledge, culture. And we've seen that most of our entrepreneurs, especially young entrepreneurs and business ventures in the continent, most of them go to China in terms of shipment of goods and services. And with these new tariff laws, it will help to boost and expand on the market.
The partnership between Africa and China is allowing us really to develop when we look at in terms of infrastructure, there's a lot of change. There's a lot of change. Much of our country today, we have good roads, good access. In terms of water, all these thematics, we have very good relationship with China, and we think this cooperation is on the win-win. This is a win-win cooperation. So it's on the respect to each other. So I think it's very important for us.
Botswana and China cooperation is a cordial one. We are very happy of the construction companies that are coming from China that helped Botswana a lot, and they have done a quality job in all of their projects, and they are finished on time, within budget. This is something that we are happy of. It's a good cooperation, really.
Other officials, including Uganda's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, also welcomed China's efforts in facilitating trade with Africa. Israel's cabinets approved further measures to tighten control over the occupied West Bank and make it easier for Israeli settlers to buy Palestinian land. The Palestinian presidency has condemned the move as a de facto annexation. Israeli settlement watchdog Peace Now said the measure could dispossess up to half of Palestinians from the West Bank. The Israeli finance minister said the aim is to strengthen Israel's hold on all parts of Palestinian land. The Israeli Foreign Ministry claimed the measures will promote transparency and help resolve land disputes. The United Nations has declared Israel's occupation of the West Bank illegal under international law. Jordan, Qatar, and Egypt have condemned Israel's move. Russia says its forces have taken control of 12 settlements since early February. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, the announcement on Sunday, the areas captured include Popovka and Sidorovka in the Sumy region, as well as the Chuhunivka area in the Kharkov region. The reported advances come just ahead of planned trilateral talks between Russia, Ukraine, and the United States in Geneva, where analysts say significant progress is unlikely. Ukraine did not immediately comment on the claim. The accused Bondi Beach attackers made his first appearance in a Sydney court. Naveed Akram appeared via video link from a Supermax prison. The 24-year-old was charged with 59 offenses in relation to the attack on December 14th. The case will return to court in April. The deadly shooting at the tourist spot left 15 people dead. One alleged gunman, who was Akram's father, also died at the scene. Heavy rain, flash flooding, and strong winds cut power to tens of thousands across New Zealand's North Island on Monday. More than 38,000 properties were affected, including about 10,000 in Wellington.
Well, to be quite honest, I've never seen it blow so hard as it did, and I live rurally. So we've had trees down, we've lost an implement shed, and yeah, it was pretty horrific.
It was wild and windy and raining until about probably 2 or 3, I think. And then it died right down. We had wind a bit this morning and it stopped now.
The forecast calls for heavy rain on the South Island's east coast on Tuesday and warns of further disruption. Airlines cancelled or delayed most flights in and out of Wellington. Coming up, Japan's economic growth faltered in the fourth quarter last year.
Sideline Story brings you all things sports related. The hottest topics, latest events, juiciest stories, all with a very personal take. Subscribe to Sideline Story Podcast for heated sports discussions covering events that are happening in China and around the world.
24 past the hour. Japan's economy grew at a much slower rate than expected in the fourth quarter last year amid weak business spending and faltering exports. GDP rose by 0.2% in the last 3 months, well below expectations of 1.6%. Growth in capital expenditure was slower than expected at only 0.2%, and exports showed no growth. The data highlights persistent headwinds for the Japanese economy. Experts say it's likely to give Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi more impetus for fiscal stimulus. The number of Chinese tourists visiting Japan has sharply declined amid rising bilateral tensions. Data from hotel reservation platform Tripla shows that cancellations during the Spring Festival holiday have reached 53.6%, far exceeding Japan's overall cancellation rate of 25%. Major destinations such as Osaka, Kyoto, and Tokyo are feeling the downturn, delivering a significant blow to Japan's tourism-driven economy. Chinese visitors' absence is hitting the hospitality and retail sector. sectors especially hard. Major department stores have reported a more than 10% drop in duty-free sales. Gold prices fell on Monday as thin trade volumes and holiday closures in the U.S. and China weighed on the market, while some traders booked profits after Friday's 2.5% surge. Spot gold was down 1.1% in midday trading, falling below $5,000 per ounce. Investors are eyeing the Federal Reserve's March 18th meeting. Silver, platinum, and palladium also retreated amid ongoing market caution. Uber has announced plans to launch its food delivery service in 7 new European markets in 2026, including the Czech Republic, Greece, and Romania. The expansion will also extend to Austria, Denmark, Finland, and Norway, and is expected to generate an additional $1 billion in gross bookings over the next 3 years. Uber's global delivery head said strong demand from merchants and consumers is driving the move. Uber agreed to acquire the delivery arm of Turkey's Getir from controlling shareholder Mubadala, further strengthening its footprint in Turkey. In Winter Olympic action from Italy, Chinese snowboarder Su Yiming has reached the men's slopestyle final at the Milano Cortina Games.
The real section is quite compact, while the slopes are not as large as expected. We tend to seek a variety of styles in rail section instead of pursuing highly complex moves in the air. This is what I will discuss with my coach after reaching the final.
He's already got a bronze medal in big air. The slopestyle competition's on Wednesday, which is also Sue's 22nd birthday. Norwegian skier Johannes Høsflot Klæbo has become the first athlete to win 9 Winter Olympic gold medals. He achieved that milestone after winning the men's 4x7.5-kilometer cross-country skiing relay at the Milano Cortina Games. The 29-year-old has 3 other gold medals from the ongoing Winter Olympics in Italy, 3 from Pyeongchang 2018 and 2 from Beijing 2022. On NBA All-Star Weekend, Anthony Edwards won the MVP award, leading his Stars team to a 47-21 victory over the Stripes. The NBA's 4th format in 4 years matched 2 teams of American All-Stars against a team representing the world. The Timberwolves star earned his first All-Star MVP with a tying 3-pointer in the first round-robin game and 8 points in the final.
Probably being a world team, yeah. I mean, because you know what they say the best players in the world. So beating them is the best feeling in the world. I know they ain't gonna really take in what I'm saying, but I like this format. I think it makes us compete because it's only 12 minutes and the 3 different teams separate the guys, and I think it was really good.
The Stripes had won the second round-robin game on De'Aaron Fox's buzzer beater, but appeared fatigued in the final. Meanwhile, LeBron James says he still hasn't decided whether his unprecedented 23rd NBA season will be his last. The 41-year-old confirmed he is not on a farewell tour with the Lakers this season, despite tearing up during a tribute in Cleveland last month. James also expressed gratitude for another chance to make memories with Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant on the All-Star stage. China's box office for new films during the Spring Festival period has so far exceeded 500 million yuan. That's around $72 million. The 9-day holiday is one of the peak movie seasons in the world's second largest film market. And according to ticketing platform Maoyan, top titles include racing comedy Pegasus 3, Zhang Yimou's espionage thriller Scare Out, and martial arts epic Blades of the Guardians. Observers credit the strong performance to government support, including 1.2 billion yuan in movie-going subsidies for 2026, and Film Plus initiatives linking cinema with tourism, dining, and merchandise. At 29 past the hour, checking the forecast before we go for the day. Beijing's down to -6 on Tuesday, this evening. Tuesday will be sunny and 11. Shanghai's cloudy overnight and down to 3, then cloudy and 9 degrees. Chongqing's overcast and 10 this evening, then cloudy and 15. Nanchang will get a slight rainfall tonight with a low of 4. Tomorrow's overcast and 10. Lhasa's cloudy this evening with a low of -1, cloudy and +3 tomorrow. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad's cloudy overnight and 9 degrees, followed by a high of 24 on Tuesday. And that's it for this edition of the Beijing Hour. Up next, we begin a 3-part special series tracing the legacy of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics. Making news today, it's Chinese New Year's, ushering in the Year of the Horse, and hundreds of millions of Chinese people are traveling over the 9-day holiday period. And Iran and the U.S. are preparing for another round of nuclear talks, despite stark differences in what each side's aiming for. On behalf of the staff, this is Shane Bigham in the Chinese capital, hoping you'll join us for the next edition of the Beijing Hour and open a window to the world together.
Shh, listen up. Can you hear the heartbeat of our world? It's vibrant and pulsating with the essence of life itself. From the stem of trees to the gurgle of rivers. From the silent strength of mountains to the icy whispers of glaciers. Even the solid ground beneath our feet. And right there, in the midst of all, beats the heart of humanity. What if those other heartbeats were to stop? Would ours keep on ticking?
Ever wondered what's actually going on in Africa through the perspective of an African? How are things really going between China and Africa? What's the narrative of this relationship? Well, get a perspective with China-Africa Talk. Hear from African diplomats, entrepreneurs, academics, Chinese natives, and more. Get on our wavelength every week to find out what's real with China-Africa Talk. Find us on your favorite podcast. We'll see you there.
As the world turns its eyes to the Milano Cortina Winter Games, Sideline story host Yang Guang takes us back to the slopes of Beijing 2022 to explore a legacy still in motion. 4 years on, Chongli's evolved from an Olympic competition zone into a booming winter destination where world-class venues fuel tourism industry and year-round opportunity.
This is Chongli. Minus 10 degrees Celsius, the air was biting but fresh. I was standing on the snow at one of the popular ski resorts that have become go-to places for winter sports lovers in China. 4 years ago, the world's greatest athletes competed on the mountains here. Chongli hosted ski jumping, biathlon, freestyle and cross-country skiing events at the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympic Games. 4 years later, the flame has been extinguished, the crowds have gone home. So what remains? To find the answer, I paid a visit to the Winter County. Not just memories, not just statues. What's left there is also a winter economic experiment on a grand scale. But can the massive investment of a global event, the stadiums, the villages, the transportation, return profits long after the last medal was awarded? Or does it become a beautiful frozen museum? Over the next 25 minutes, we're going to trace the economic heartbeat of this place, from the snowy peaks down to the shop floors, to see if the Olympic legacy is a dividend-paying asset or a depreciating one. To understand the demand side of this new economy, I started where every skier starts. I was at Genting Ski Resort, home to freestyle skiing competitions at Beijing 2022. The slopes here aren't just recreational, they are textbooks of elite sports. And teaching on them is Tan Chengwan, a man whose life timeline is etched in ski seasons.
I started skiing at 12, 13, being a coach now, over a decade. Back then, it was a niche thing, expensive. There were few skiers. After the Olympics, there has been a massive change. The 300 million on ice and snow policy wasn't just a slogan. You feel it. Skiing has become quite mass-oriented. Our ski school has 300 coaches now.
Tan says he has felt the vibe of the winter economy firsthand in Chongli, with students pouring in after the Winter Olympics.
The students is everyone now. I've taught many 3-year-olds in tiny skis, just shuffling. Then I've seen retired people in their 60s and 70s determined to learn. Skiing is known for both exercise and self-cultivation, and many come for the Olympic brand. A long-time student of mine previously skied abroad. After hearing about the Olympic venues here, he wanted to experience them. For the past 2 winters, he's been coming here.
10 stories a microeconomy. The Olympics didn't just create a momentary need for ski coaches, it validated skiing as a mainstream pursuit, creating sustained demand for skilled labor like his. The number of ski coaches in Chongli has tripled from 2016 to 2023. Thousands of coaches now are scattered in different resorts. But who are these coaches teaching? Kevin is from Beijing. Instead of skiing in the capital city, he'd rather travel nearly 200 kilometers with his family to Chongli to spend a skiing weekend out.
They are practice hills. Here you have the real thing. The Olympics showed us what real looks like. The quality of the snow, the length of the runs. Our budget for a weekend? For my wife, my son, me, maybe 2,500 to 3,000 yuan. We stay at a mid-range hotel, maybe 600 a night. 2-day lift passes, rental for my son, then food, which isn't cheap on the mountain.
Zhang Chongling works and lives in Beijing as well. To her, Chongli costs more than slopes in Beijing, but brings quality ski experience.
The freestyle skiing World Cup takes place here. The environment, the location, the slopes are all excellent. It's close to Beijing with many high-speed trains to take. So choosing Chongli is what most people do. I found a ski and stay package on social media. Hotel, lift pass, all for about 700 RMB. Seemed a bargain. If you hire a coach, it's expensive. I am a beginner, so I spend a lot on coaching. But you know what? It's worth it. I trust the brand here. The facilities here are complete, plus with great accommodation, beautiful towns to visit. I have more leisure choices other than skiing.
Reports show in the year of 2025, Chongli welcomed over 10 million tourist trips, with tourism revenue achieving a corresponding leap in growth. There is the economic layering. The initial pull is the Olympic-infused destination. The base band is on access and accommodation, but the real economic activation is in the ancillary services, the coaching, the gear. Zhang's story is perfect. A low-margin package deal used as a loss leader to capture a customer who then spends more on high-margin services. This is the experience economy in action. The Olympics didn't just bring visitors, it brought visitors willing to pay for quality, shifting the revenue model from a volume to value.
Hey, 季总您好。哎，您好。
The Zhangjiakou Olympic Village, one of the most challenging post-games assets to manage, is a vast, purpose-built residential complex. This space is a time capsule. The rooms once held the focused dreams of athletes from Norway, Germany, Canada when they competed during the Winter Games. Now, they are rooms booked by, let's say, a family from Shanghai for the weekend. How do you turn a symbol of transient glory into a sustainable business? I spoke with the manager, Ji Jiajiao.
我们的户型呢也有多种多样的可以选择，从这个标间到大床房。
We offer various room types, from standard rooms to king beds, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom suites, and some loft units on the top floors. Our capital expenditure on hard renovation was minimized. Our investment was in soft upgrades, full Wi-Fi, smart TVs, creating flexible workspaces. Our pricing strategy was crucial. We are 20 to 30% below the new 5-star hotels nearby. We are not selling luxury, we are selling authenticity. We are selling the story.
And the story sells.
我们现在一共对外运营开放的是1500间房。
We currently have 1,500 rooms open for operation. On weekends, occupancy typically reaches over 90%. For instance, this weekend we are fully booked. A rough calculation is that the renovation investment was recouped in about 2 years of operation. We are now a profitable entity.
然后开始实现了盈利了。
Using a cost leadership strategy on operation with minimal renovation, the Olympic Village has become the first choices for those skiers seeking affordable accommodation in Chongli. But it's more than that. A differentiation strategy on marketing with the unique Olympic heritage makes the village more fascinating for tourists.
因为从这个冬奥会结束嘛，就是首先这个冬奥会期间，游客们是不太能来现场感受的。
After the Olympics ended, since visitors couldn't really experience the site during the games due to restrictions, once we opened, many tourists from across the country came, attracted by its reputation. This includes the iconic Snow Ruyi, the landmark National Ski Jumping Center, and the opportunity for an authentic living experience in the athletes' village. Let me give you an example. Last weekend, a family flew in Chongli from Nanjing, hundreds of kilometers away, on Friday night, specifically to let their child experience staying in a room once occupied by Olympic champions. They returned on Sunday. The child also enjoys skiing, so it was a chance to experience the real Olympic culture.
体验一下我们的这个冰雪文化。
Manager Ji also revealed the most innovative revenue stream, monetizing not just the bed, but the lifestyle and the narrative.
其实我们冬奥村呀，在这个运营之后呢，是分为了几大业态的。比如说，我们有这个
We developed several business segments. One, of course, is skiing, targeting skiing enthusiasts. Another is vacation stay, mainly for summer visitors escaping the heat. The biggest growth is in experimental education. We partner with schools across Hebei, Beijing, even further. The students don't come to ski, they come for Olympic classes. The schools bring their existing curriculum and teachers combined with local Olympic stories, authentic, touching incidents from the games, and Olympic elements like the tech of the facilities to build class contents. They've developed a set of classes tailored to our location.
这个冬奥的文化进行了一个很好的传承。
So the village has become a hotel, a museum, and a school. This is asset versatility. The initial Olympic construction was a capital injection into the region's fixed assets. The post-games operation is the return on that investment, showcasing the sustainable use of Olympic legacies. If the Olympic Village is about repurposing a single asset, Taiwu Town is about building an entire economic ecosystem from the ground up. This isn't a ski resort with a hotel. It's a purpose-built North American-style alpine town. And its CEO, Zhou Wenchan, is a philosopher of the mountain economy.
崇礼虽然可能大概有7、8家的这个雪场，其实上每家的雪场定位都不一样。
Although Chongli has about 7 or 8 ski resorts, each has a different positioning. Taiwu is a 4-season year-round resort. We were likely the first mountain resort in China to promote summer operations. We don't call ourselves just a ski resort. We refer to ourselves as a mountain resort because skiing is just one of many mountain activities. In summer, there are many outdoor sports like mountain biking, tennis, or football that can be hosted. In winter, besides skiing, another major outdoor activity is hiking. Mountains are our great assets. We have various ski trails, and we also opened about 8 hiking routes starting from the town, including paths to Chongli's famous summer ridges and surrounding areas.
包括徒步，当成这个度假项目之一。
The charm of winter in Chongli is not just confined to skiing. As Taiwu beautifully demonstrates, it's a season of diverse pleasures. Visitors can enjoy everything from soothing spring baths and peaceful hikes to lively evenings out and retail therapy. This is a winter experience focused on diverse needs. Zhou described a deliberate 3-stage economic evolution. First, conquer seasonality. Namely, from winter to summer, with many non-skiing activities planned. Then extend the daily revenue window. That's day to night, with restaurants, entertainment, and other nightlife options set up. Now their focus is the final frontier, smoothing the weekly volatility from weekends to weekdays. This is sophisticated demand management.
从人口的角度啊，就是说从整个客户的分类来看啊，我们
In terms of clients, we focus more on young adults and families. In winter, we consistently have about 1,000 college students coming to Taiwu to ski every week as a regular activity. For families, our variety of hotels and resort facilities cater to them, attracting many family customers. This differs from other resorts in Chongli, which are more focused on their ski trails. Our hot springs are particularly popular. Basically, every hotel has hot spring facilities. After being out in the cold and skiing, people need warmth to relax, and we also offer services like spas. Additionally, we have nearly 60 restaurants and about 10 bars in the town. We also host events like Taiwu Night and cultural performances.
这些打树花啊，这样的一些产品。
The events economy has become the core engine driving the surge in tourism numbers in Chongli. In the past year, Chongli tapped into the value of its Winter Olympics venues, establishing a cultural, tourism, and sports event matrix. It hosted over 800 various cultural, tourism, and sports events, ranging from international top-tier competitions to public carnivals. Notably, one of Asia's largest trail running events, the 2025 Chongli 168 Ultra Trail, attracted more than 170,000 visitors during its 9-day period, directly generating 168 million yuan or $24 million in tourism revenue. Events like the Spartan Race and the Grassland Sky Road Cycling Race also drew tens of thousands of participants and spectators. Chongli isn't just about skiing, it's also not just about winter. Chongli's success as a year-round tourism destination cannot be separated from the solid infrastructure after the Winter Games. Taiwu, for example, played a prominent role during Beijing 2022, serving as the accommodations for media, officials, and some athletes. In the bidding process of the Winter Games, Taiwu's scale expanded from having just one hotel to 8 hotels by the time of the Games, which laid the foundation for the current size of Taiwu. Zhou says the infrastructure boost comes beyond the new blocks of buildings.
我们今年雪季加上夏季，整个的客流大概应该将近300万。
Our total visitor count for this snow season plus summer is nearly 3 million. This was unimaginable before the Olympics, because without the Olympic infrastructure like highways and high-speed rail, it wasn't possible to travel quickly from a city like Beijing to Chongli. Before the highway opened, even with the train, the trip from Beijing took about 3.5 hours. Now, thanks to the improved infrastructure, it only takes about an hour from Beijing. At peak times, there were about 9 fully booked high-speed train trips daily. So the Olympics' role in propelling the development of the Chongli region and China's ice and snow industry cannot be underestimated.
是不可小视的。
The site where Taiwu Town was established used to be a village. Now many villagers work in the Taiwu Town with job opportunities provided across different sectors. This is perhaps the most profound long-term economic impact. Instead of local people leaving for cities, many now stay in their hometown to seek opportunities.
就是当时我们的拆迁政策是每户解决1个就业名额。
For most villagers, our relocation policy included providing 1 job per household. Initially, nearly 100 people from the village were employed at the resort. As development continued and we needed more local labor, some families from Yingcha village entirely work here, sometimes 6 members from 1 family. The tourism industry has a characteristic. Its contribution to GDP growth might be relatively limited compared to primary or secondary industries, but it's valuable for local employment and distributes wealth widely. It's what we call a happiness industry. It preserves community while providing dignified work.
我觉得这个才是人追求很重要的一个点，幸福产业。
the ice and snow economy is creating more local employment. According to a PwC report released in March 2025, around 30,000 residents of Chongli, nearly a quarter of the county's population, now work in winter sports and winter tourism-related jobs. Wang Lixia, a local who joined the industry just as the Olympic wave was building, has a front row seat. She's now the manager of a ski gear shop in Chongli.
当时也是市里边好多朋友，他们也逐渐的接触滑雪，然后
At the time, many friends in the city were starting to get into skiing. I was curious, and since there was a skiing-related job opportunity right at my doorstep, I wanted to try it. With many ski resorts in Chongli, they provide employment opportunities for most local families. Basically, every household here has someone working at a ski resort. So there's no need to travel far to places like Beijing or Shanghai to hustle.
The most visceral proof of a hobby becoming a lifestyle is in the retail space. When you stop renting and start buying, you are making a statement of commitment. Peak Performance Gear Shop is a temple to this transition. As the manager of such store, Wang witnessed the heat of winter sports firsthand.
因为我从19年就来这边嘛，一直就看着每年的雪季的一个。
2019 to now is a different world. I have observed the changes each snow season. With the Olympics raising awareness about skiing, more people know about the sport. The biggest trend is the move to ownership. It used to be rent skis, wear your own jeans and a puffy jacket. Now the first purchase is often proper pants and a jacket, then gloves, a helmet, then, okay, I need my own boots for comfort. Finally, the big one, the skis or board. The customers are more knowledgeable and their questions are more sophisticated. They don't just play around aimlessly like pure tourists. They're truly experiencing the sport and learning.
This is classic category adoption. The Olympics provided the top-of-funnel awareness. Now the industry is guiding people down the funnel, from experience to beginner gear to advanced equipment. Reports say more than 60% of Chinese ski lovers buy equipment each season, typically budgeting 1,000 to 2,000 yuan. This is the grassroots level of the snow economy, where passion is converted directly into GDP. One jacket, one ski, one lesson at a time. At Wang's gear shop, I met two customers deep in that journey.
My first buy was a pair of pants. I needed them urgently for skiing the next day. Bought a pair because I had nothing suitable. Worried about snow getting in. Later, bought knee pads for protection, then boots. Last season, I dropped 5,000 RMB on these skis. Now, I have a complete set, almost everything.
I bought the entire outfit first in summer with big discounts. The board is next.
在2022年的时候，当时北京冬奥会嘛，然后我们学校
In 2022, during the Beijing Winter Olympics, my college organized a batch of volunteers for the National Alpine Skiing Center. I signed up and was assigned to the competition volunteering group. We served both spectators and athletes. After the games, I tried skiing myself. I would get up at 6 or 7 a.m. to be the first on the slopes, just alone then. After meeting a group of fellow ski lovers, skiing together is more fun. Progress is also much faster that way.
There's a powerful feedback loop here. The Olympics created participants who become enthusiasts, who then become high-value consumers. Walking back through Chongli, the cold was a constant, but the economy here is undeniably hot. It's not a simple, feverish boom. What I've seen is more deliberate, more layered. The Olympic investment was the massive injection of capital, the fixed assets. But the real economic gain is the return on that asset. It's in the human capital, the coach like Tan and the store manager like Wang, whose expertise is now valued in this marketplace. It's in the repurposed Olympic Village, turning a potential white elephant into a profitable hotel. It's in Taiwu Town, using Olympic infrastructure to build a year-round, diversified economy that attracts customers and keeps wealth local. And it's in the consumer capital, the tens of thousands of people like Kevin, Juan, and John, who are investing their own money and identity into this lifestyle, creating a stable demand-side foundation for all of the above. An iMedia research report on the winter sports industry's prospects for this winter says the Chinese market was worth just under 1.05 trillion yuan or $147.7 billion in 2024 and could surpass 1.5 trillion yuan by 2029. Chongli is a perfect mirror to this boom. The Olympic spending rippled out, creating jobs, which created incomes, which created more spending. But here in Chongli, it feels less like a ripple and more like a well-tended garden. The initial blast of fertilizer, the games, was necessary. But now the careful commercial cultivation by people is what's making it sustainable.
He can't live without the Yellow River in his eyes.
The Yellow River is so noble and elegant.
Both my grandpa and dad made a living from the river.
Would you like to move away from the Yellow River?
I don't think I will. I love it so much.
The Yellow River, the second longest river in China, is regarded as a shaping force in the history, economy and culture of northern China. Today, about 100 million people live within its water basin, making up nearly 9% of the country's population. How is climate change felt at its headwaters, and what are the locals doing to cope with it? What are the descendants of the boatmen doing? What has kept some people from leaving their home village by the river, and what has drawn others back? Could the fading fishing community revive in the time of digital transformation? From 2021 to 2024, our reporters visited the upper, middle and lower reaches of the Yellow River, talked to the herders, farmers, boatmen, fishermen and eco-activists who share a close bond with the river, and present their stories in pictures, podcasts and videos, all in our 12-part series, The Yellow River Mosaic, available only on CGTN Radio.
As you sip your morning coffee, we transport you from the sea of tulips in the countryside to the exciting moments of table tennis worlds.
France 3-0 to win the men's team title at table tennis.
As you commute in the hustle and bustle of rush hour traffic, we guide you to navigate from intricacies of global markets,
International Monetary Fund has
tech revolutions, to the El Niño triggered fires.
Says over 90 active fires.
As you gather around a community event, we provide you the vibrant sounds on different topics, such as how AI empowers education,
that provide teachers and students.
What does Loong or the Chinese dragon mean to the Chinese
symbolizing
people?
Great power, good luck, and strength.
Why live stream shopping is gaining popularity in Brazil.
Entrepreneurs are seeking to establish a strong presence in the Brazilian market.
CGTN Radio, your constant companion to connect people through sharing insights, interviews, and opinions that help us to see the world. Together with CGTN Radio, hear the difference. You can download the CGTN app to get more valued information.
From the refreshing cup of tea that starts your morning, to the paper that you write on, the roots of many familiar parts of modern life can be traced back to ancient ideas.
Crates of tea dumped the whole thing straight into the ice. Rice even served as currency in 794. A new paper mill was founded in the abuzz.
Across mountains, deserts, and oceans, these creations shaped the world then and continue to influence all of us today. Join us on Made in Ancient China, and discover how ideas born millennia ago became some of the world's greatest treasures.
Welcome to Made in Ancient China. We hope you enjoyed this journey. May your thoughts...
Made in Ancient China brings you stories of human ambition, inspiration, and connection. Now available on all major podcast platforms.